the two options that we are confronted with on a regular basis. If you make the right choice in your life, if you make the right decision in your life, then you probably will go into the horizon and create something wonderful. But if you are not planning your career properly, if you're not planning your own capabilities, if you're not shaping up your own capabilities properly, then if you make a step into the future, you may fall into the pit. And this is a scary thought. I don't want to scare you, but I want to give you the idea that as a human being, as a professional, as a young budding professional or an entrepreneur, if you want to do a career track in becoming a business person, and also if you want to do a career track in becoming a professional, both areas you will need to make judgment calls in your life. You have to make big changes in your life at times because the opportunities are changing. As we know, we are in a COVID infested situation right now. So given the context of reality in today's market, you have to make what should I say, very informed decision. Otherwise, you may fall into the pit. Moving to the next slide. Beware, beware. Why? Because time is money. Time is money, and time is going away. If your time is not properly utilized, if your time is not properly monitored, if your time is not properly assessed, that how much time will you be putting in what type of activity? If you're spending too much time with friends and chatting away and doing so, Facebooking and all of that, then perhaps you're not putting enough time into your education. Perhaps you're not putting enough time into developing your own self. You're not probably putting enough time into developing your own traits in your own profession. So time is money, and you have to be beware. The time is flying. There are two things which never come back. One is the tide and one is the time. So time is approaching at a accelerated pace. If you don't plan your future, if you don't plan your present, then obviously if come 6 months, come 1 year, if you reflect back into your past and you think that, oh my God, 6 months have passed and I really didn't do much. That should not be the case. So plan your future based on segmenting your time. As a professional, you need to segment your time. You have 24 hours. Actually, out of the 24 hours, real productive time is about 6 to 7 hours a day. So you need to start planning your life based on these time slices where you want to put some time for your family. Definitely. You want to put some time for your friendships. You want to put some time for your engagements, your networking, and you must put time for your own education and for your own growth as a professional. So time is money, and you must not waste your time away. So that's why I said I put the word out, beware. And you as a professional, if you think every day from the moment you wake up, time is fleeting, and you need to put certain time for certain actions. If you don't do that, then you are actually wasting your life away. And you have come to this world with something positive to do. You have to be somebody special, and that is why you joined the Rotaract movement. That is why you became you challenged yourself to do more for society, right? Your slogan for this year is creating value, and Rotary slogan for this year is Rotary opens opportunities. So be a friend to time. Don't be a foe to time. Use time most effectively. Moving to the next slide. You know, this gentleman, Albert Einstein, he's just talking about different things that we are extremely complex scientific discoveries. But what I'm using his thoughts into our life is your customers are changing, and we are talking about you as your own customer. We are talking about customers from two angles. One is your external customers, people with whom you respond to, people with whom you work with, people with whom you provide certain kind of service. That is one form of customers. The other form of customer is yourself, your own individual self. So you want to build your own customer base. That means you need to build yourself. So Albert Einstein took many years to build himself. So we want to be an Albert Einstein in our own field, right? So that's why you have to look at your customer from two angles. One is your external customer, the people with whom you network with, people with whom you interact with, people with whom you trade ideas, people with whom you exchange views, and perhaps people with whom you work. and people with whom you develop new projects for your organization, or if it's your own organization, people within your organization. But you as a human being, you need to create your own customer base. That means your own brand. You need to be known for your capacity. You need to be known for your strengths. You need to be working hard to overcome your weaknesses. As a human being, we have strengths, we have weaknesses. So you as a professional, you need to look inward into your own customer base. That is your internal customer. That could be not just you, it might be your team members, the people with whom you're working, and into a profession, right? If you're setting up a factory, let's say you're the owner of a factory, your internal customers are your people with whom you're working with. So you need to find time to make your internal customers happy. You need to find time to make yourself happy. If you're not happy as a human being, if you're not passionate, if you're not excited about life, then you are actually failing your internal customer. So I am pushing this idea onto you in terms of two ideas. One is your internal self, an internal team, an internal customer. And the other idea is for the external customer. And the external customer is all the rest of the world, the stakeholders with whom you interact with. So this idea must be sort of absorbed in your head in order for you to do well in life. So two customers, one is you, one is your external customer. If you start thinking in these two buckets, in these two constructs in your head, then you will start realizing that you need to shape up certain things within yourself to be a better person to your external world. That means your external customer. And similarly, people who are externally connecting with you, they need to understand you better. How? Because you are more knowledgeable, you're more compassionate about life, you mean business, and you have more wisdom, and you can actually articulate things in a professional manner. So they will be more willing to connect with you. So it works both ways. It creates a synergy. Okay. Moving to the next slide. This is important. Designing your brand. When we talk about brand, we are actually talking brand not in terms of a product per se. We are also talking brand in terms of the personality that you hold, the brand that you yourself are. You're creating some kind of brand presence amongst your friends. You're creating some kind of brand presence amongst the people with whom you interact with. You don't want to be known as someone who doesn't have the proper aura, proper characteristic traits to be acceptable in different circles. You want to be known as someone who's very much a valued person in a community. People respond to you most passionately. People want you in their capacity. People want them in their teams. So that is the kind of brand that you want to be. You want to be seen as someone who's delivering some value. As we know, your theme for this year is also creating value. So you want to value as a person. You want to create value as a person, and you want to disseminate this strength, disseminate this brand strength that you are someone special. And how do you do that? You have to follow certain structure. You have to follow certain structure. First, you have to be informed. If you're not an informed citizen, if you don't know what you're talking about, if you don't know what is it that what is it that is taking place around you, how can you share your thoughts? How can you convey a new message to people? Because you don't know things around you. So the first principle in creating a brand is to be informed. You have to create your own information database. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to know your material. You have to practice your material. So when you are presenting something to your team members, your external community, then people must feel that you have complete knowledge of the task at hand and you can really deliver. So being informed is the first principle to creating you as a brand, because you're actually selling yourself. You're selling yourself as a brand into the market. Then point number two is being communicative. If you are knowledgeable, you know your stuff, but you're not being able to communicate well with your team members, they are losing you at points. Maybe you're talking in too abstracted terms. Maybe you're not talking in the terms that they can understand. Sometimes you're talking in terms of very high-ended words and terminology, but your team members are maybe somewhere in the middle. They need to be understood at their level. So no use sharing very complex thoughts with them. So you need to come down and be at their level. So being at the level of your audience is very important. So being communicative and being at the level of your audience actually adds value. Otherwise, your thoughts, your ideas, your vision, whatever you're trying to promote and whatever idea that you're trying to sell will not make any dent in their minds, because they're losing you. They don't have the intellectual capacity, or maybe they don't have the proper understanding. Maybe they are not informed of the situation. So perhaps when you're communicating, you need to inform them as well. You need to make them aware of what are the things that you're going to be talking about and why is it important. So the value has to be there from their point of view. They must listen to you based on some principles of value. They must feel that I'm listening to this statement because I am going to gain some benefit out of it. Nobody does anything in this world without some kind of benefit. So we are talking about a benefit, an exchange. So you're talking and you're putting, let's say, 10 minutes of communication into a presentation, but that person has to feel that there is certain level of value created through this presentation, and there is certain information that is being shared. There is some knowledge that I can gain and gather from it. So being communicative and being informed are the two essential components in designing your career, in designing your sales career, in designing yourself as a career person who can sell yourself as a brand. Then the next point is absolutely essential in today's marketplace. Today's market is about collaboration. I know you work in teams, Rotary and Rotaract. We both work in teams. We don't deliver things out in thin air just by our personal efforts. We work as a team. It's a team effort. We put together projects and we push people into these projects based on their certain capacities and their strengths. So it's a team effort. So if you are designing your brand, you need to know that you have to work in a team, because in not all areas you would be equally competitive. Not you will not be equally competitive in every single domain of knowledge. That is not humanly possible. So when you are trying to create something remarkable, for example, imagine Bill Gates. He has created Microsoft Corporation, right? Microsoft Corporation is now a corporation of hundreds and thousands of people working together. Bill Gates is not directing everyone. It's not possible. Bill Gates is maybe directing maximum 30, 40 people. The rest of the people are creating value by creating the teamwork. So the whole idea of enterprise development, the whole idea of brand development, whole idea of you becoming a brand is through teamwork. You need to start thinking, and you need to be open in understanding the concepts of teamwork, and you need to construct teams, and based on the teams your delivery of service will be much more efficient. You will deliver much more. You will have many arms in your pockets, meaning within yourself, that you can extend. But if you are closed as a human being, if you don't want to share ideas, then you are cocooned into a shell and your thoughts are with you. And if you want to grow your thoughts, there won't be people who would be responding to you. Why? Because you never came out of your cocoon, you never came out of your shell, and you never extended your arm by saying, look, here's an idea that I'm working with. Can you come and help? Sometimes you have to give value to the other person more so than your own self. You have to give respect to that person, and that is how you create the teamwork. Okay. The next point is build communities of trust. Teamwork builds the trust. Teamwork builds your trusting capacity. Maybe you can put people together that you say, John, Josephine, and Zia, you are in team one. Rubaiyat, Dinesh, Karthik, you're in team two. It may not work. Why? Because the trust element has to be there. You need to know who is going to be operating with whom in the most trusted fashion. That is why just putting teams and not connecting with the team dynamics on a regular basis can actually destroy the outcome of the team. So you have to build a trust mechanism amongst yourself. Who trusts whom? And that's how you develop your synergies between yourself. And people respond in a very cohesive manner. And human beings are by nature group animals. We don't actually live in individual silos. Every time you feel bad, every time you feel elated, you want to share your joy, you want to share your misery with your team members, with your family, right? So by nature, human beings are group animals. We are animals, educated animals. So building trust should be a primary focus of all teams. If you don't build trust, then you will not gain teamwork. So gaining the trust among your people is very important for a leader. You as a leader, you have to develop a system of operation where you can start thinking that these people are more trustworthy, not just listening to you, they are trustworthy amongst themselves. It's not should not be a one-way communication that I trust that person, therefore this team will work. It can work, but it will be a very difficult challenge. But if you can create an empowering team, empowerment meaning you give the task to your team members and the team member starts to flow as an organic team and create the synergy amongst themselves and develop something of value for the outcome to take shape, then you will obviously get a sweet music, you will get a sweet outcome. So this trust element is so important, and I cannot re-emphasize the fact that a great majority of your time, your effort should be on building trust. Imagine building trust within families. When you build trust with your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, this is very important. Unless you build the trust, then you cannot really move to the next level, which is compassion, empathy, and all of that. So the moving to the next point, be achievement oriented. This is absolutely important. Unless you are thinking positive, unless you're passionate about your growth, unless you think that yes, we want to achieve something in life as a professional, as a business person, your life is at your you're the I say to my team members that my I'm the architect of my life. I design my future. I architect my future. I make every little changes in my life through certain small input from the society, from my knowledge, from my teachers, everybody around me. So putting these and weaving them together into a beautiful story is actually nothing but the story of success. So you have to start framing the story of success for your own personal life, for your own personal brand. If you don't frame the pieces in your story of success, then come 2 years, come 5 years, you will not be seeing yourself successful. Time will pass and you will not have a wonderful story to tell. So I want you to start thinking what is your achievement, what is your areas of strength, so that you can start weaving your success stories. And in order for you to weave your success stories, you have to realize that, as we mentioned, you have to be informed, you have to be communicative, you have to work in teams, you have to build the community of trust, and then the entire sequence of events will come and shape up to something remarkable in your lives. And I honestly believe human beings have great capacity. Every single one of you have great capacities if you can put yourselves together. If you can start thinking that I can make changes in life, if you can start thinking that I have the capacity to change things around, you have to start believing in yourself. And that strength you have to convey to people, and that aura, that spirit, that passion should be resonating in your brightness, resonating in your smile. Remember some what was the name, Madame Teresa once said, the greatest gift of mankind is a smile. So you have to build trust, and you have to build trust through sharing your smiles, moments of joy. Be passionate around people around you, and if you're giving this passion and a ray of hope around you, it will resonate. They will also resonate by giving their values, their respect to you. So once you have that respect culture amongst yourself, then the entire organization, the team that you're talking about, will actually flow into something sweet, and that will create something it will create an achievement culture within the enterprises in which you're working, whether it's in your university project, whether it's in your home-based business, whether it's within your family. So being responsible for your life is the first thing that you need to do. And that is how you build your sales brand. Okay, moving to the next one. So I just want to point out, I didn't particularly want to go into the definitional part, but just for the sake of academic point of view, since I am also into an academic field. So what is sales? A very academic point of view. Sales is the process through which need and demand are fulfilled. Need. Everybody has a need. I have a need for food and I demand a burger. So my need is sensitized by the culture, and the culture, maybe I'm in a Western culture right now and I need a burger. But if you're in an Eastern culture, you might say, I want a roti, right? So sales is that process through which the need and demand are fulfilled through a transaction. And this transaction is actually, perhaps most cases, it's a monetary transaction. Sometimes it's a barter transaction. You give somebody something and in exchange somebody gives you that thing. So that's a sales. So how does this happen? It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen just by looking at people's face and expect people to respond. No, you have to be vibrant. You have to be communicative. You have to share some value for that person. If somebody is not feeling that I'm gaining some value, that person is not going to do the transaction. So as a professional person, as a brand, you have to start thinking that what value I'm bringing to the table to the other person. Am I creating some value to the other person? Is that value measurable? If it's measurable and if it's making sense to that person's mind, yes, that person might respond by exchanging certain things with you. That person might give you 100 takas or 100 rupees and buy your product. So that is very important. So next point I want to share is people sometimes confuse selling with advertising. This is an academic issue as well. Selling is not advertising, and we need to know. Selling is different, and advertising is just placing your positioning or placement of your product or service in the eyes of people so that people get aware of your product. They can read the features and they can think that, oh, maybe I need this product. They did not know about your product previously. So this advertisement might create an opportunity for you to sell something. So selling and advertisement are two different things, but one sits on the other. You cannot say that I'm going to sell first and then advertise. No, it's the other way around. You advertise with words, you advertise with visuals, you advertise with videos, you advertise with other word of mouth communication, etc. There could be many various forms of advertisement, but the selling is so much important at the end, because it's like in an open game of soccer. You might be a fantastic dribbler. That's, let's say you're advertising, you're a fantastic dribbler, but you can't score goals. So if you can't score goals, then you might be an advertiser that I am a good player, but you're not a salesperson. You could not sell, you could not score goals, and you ultimately will lose. So as a professional, you have to be wearing both hats. You have to be a good communicator. You have to be good at presenting yourself, proper dress, proper communication, the ray of hope, being confident. Those are the middle ground. Let's say that those are the terms that advertises you that, yes, I am here, I mean business, I'm here to challenge the world, and I'm confident. Those are your advertising traits per se. But the selling happens when you can actually convince that person, and ultimately that person builds certain relationship with you and ultimately buys your product or service. It might be a product, it might be a service, or it might be an action. You want people to go with you on a picnic, for example. You feel that if you have 10 people of your 10 of your good friends to come to the picnic, then it would be awesome. You will really have a blast. So you are actually advertising the real scope of the picnic, and you're telling your friend that, look, you're going to waste your day today. Why don't you come with me? We are with us. We're going to do that. We're going to do this biking. We're going to do this hiking. We are going to have a great fun. Let's do this. We're going to take a lot of pictures. We're going to eat some nice curry dish, etc. So you're creating some kind of interest in that person, right? So that is your advertising part. But when that person says, okay, Zia, you sold me. I'm hooked. All right, when do we go for that picnic? Okay, how much do I have to pay? Okay, 1,000 rupees or 1,000 taka. That's when the real process of sales starts. Sale hasn't happened yet, That person can actually take back. You go home and you think that, my God, my 5 friends have agreed to me that we are going to go for a picnic. So you're very excited that picnic is happening. But no, it hasn't happened yet until you see the dollar, until you see the money coming to you, that people have sent you the money through your internet banking. We call it Bikash in Bangladesh. I don't know what you call it in your Nepal, but unless you get that money into your pocket that you can buy your products and arrange for the trip, sales has not happened. So you have to be connected with the entire process, from the awareness building to creating the advertisement to almost building the sales process and ultimately closing the sales. In management, in sales management and sales marketing, we say 50% or 60% of the game is actually sales closing. If you can close a sales, that is the most wonderful music in the eyes of any great organization. That organization will be happy to engage you as their sales professional. So imagine yourself as a human being. If you can close deals in terms of convincing people, convincing your family, convincing your teachers, your friends to do certain things, then you are in the magic. You're in the magic of doing a great sales branding for yourself. So that's very important. The next point that is, we have to come back and think and absorb the idea that customers are the essence of entire marketing and sales. If you don't have any customers, if there are nobody to sell your product and services, that means even if you're the best communicator in the world, people are not responding to you. People are not wanting your product. So in this process, one thing is important, that you have to understand that you have to take note of the requirement of the soul, the other person. What is the requirement that the other person is wanting in his or her mind, or in their construct, or in their heart? If you know that, and if you can tweak with that, if you can champion those ideas and bring out the senses properly, then you are beginning to create the sales process. So this is important, that you are there not just to make sales for the sake of sales and profit. You have to nurture, you have to develop a good relationship with them, and then these the process of sales will ultimately flow effectively, and then you will be able to sell yourself. So coming to the next slide. So this was more of a theoretical perspective of sales. So how this sales impact us is important question, and whether there is a perceptual issue with us in terms of sales is important. No two people think alike. That's the most important point. So if you look at this picture, I see one lady, maybe you see two ladies, although there are two ladies there. I see the young lady in one picture, and I see an old lady with the chin out in the same picture. So when you're looking at certain things, or when you're promoting certain ideas, you might have a perception, the other person may not have the same perception. So if you want to be a good sales leader, if you want to be a sales brand, a personal brand, branding yourself, you have to be wearing two hats. One, your own hat as to how you present yourself out to the people and the audience, and you have to also wear the hat responsibly in understanding how they're thinking about you, how they are getting to respond to you. Are they listening, or are they are they truly listening, or are they just hearing and losing part of the message that you're driving towards them? This is important. So perception and gathering information is also important from the other person's perspective. We call it we have a concept called it's called in communication, you quote something out to the person, the information flows through ether to the other person, and the other person decodes it and makes a meaning of it. And the meaning is designed by the environment in which he or she has grown, or the environment in which he or she has been responding to you over the months. So that person has made a sort of a has a belief about you, and when you say certain statement, they conjure up a certain understanding based on the belief that they have about you. So your perception is very important, and as a sales profession, as a proper human being with high quality, you have to start thinking that you have to Your perception may not be the right perception. The customer, the people with whom you're interacting, has a different perception. So you have to respect their viewpoints and engage with them in a discussion through which, if you want to mold the perception, that's fine. If you don't want to mold the perception, but if you want to gain a new perspective, that's also fine. Because in any process, when you're selling some ideas to people, when people start responding from the market and the audience level, you might get new ideas from them, right? So you might want to change your perception as well. So it's very important to be open to these ideas. Okay, this is not the case at all times, because if you are always trying to get ideas from people, then you will never be able to put things together in action. So at certain point in time, you have to say, a lot, we have enough ideas, now we are going into the action mode, and this is how we are going to put our implementation, put our plan into implementation. That's important. Okay, so your job as a professional is to put yourself in the customer's shoe, the people with whom you're responding. For even if you, let's say you're an advocate, you're a lawyer, also an advocate. So when I deal with my customer, I have to think at the back of my mind what that person is truly thinking. Does that person have the financial capacity to respond to my the requirement that I'm giving, or is it something that I need to do in a little different way, and at the same time I can keep my customer within myself so that my customer doesn't go away to another advocate. Same with is the case when I'm selling a product or when I'm selling a service. I need to be feeling giving the comfort zone to my audience that, hey, here is a product, here is a service that I am bringing out to you, and you we know that we have created some value for you, and that is why you're listening to this my communication, and therefore I want you to buy my product because it's going to achieve certain intended target for you, and our product has the greatest benefit that you probably will not get in any other product. So that type of communication has to take place. So you need to put yourself in the shoes of your customer. That's absolutely vital. And that is the way you will slowly brand yourself as a professional person delivering utmost and optimum results in society. If you look at this picture, you can see that things can go wrong if your planning is not right. These three people are pushing things extremely hard, but they are going in the wrong foot. They're going in the wrong foot. Why? Because all the tires are sitting on top of the cart, right? The wheels are actually the real wheels of success is sitting on the cart. So you need to start realizing, is there certain wheels in your life which is sitting somewhere else where you're not really looking into? Take that opportunity, take that understanding, and go find those wheels in your life, and then put those wheels into the right places. And then you will be able to respond quicker, faster, and your cart will move faster. And these people are actually wasting their energy. They are being inefficient, they are being foolish, and they are actually slowing down the entire organization, and the teamwork is not working. Very soon, there will be frustration amongst themselves, and maybe one or two people will leave, whereas only small changes can actually change things around. So this is so important in life that we need to respond to in our lives. Maybe you have everything within yourself. You just need to re-articulate. You may just need to rethink your future and your capability and align them like a magnetic field. Start aligning them. And when you start aligning them, you will realize that, wow, I have everything within me. All this time, I did not pay much attention to my inner strength, my inner capability. So now is the time for me to respond, and this is the time for me to grow. So be passionate, start finding the inner tools, inner strengths that you have, and put them in the right action places. Then your life will go smooth, and you will turn yourself into a brand. Okay, moving to the next slide. I don't want to go into detail on that because my time is, I think, running out. But what I'll do is I'll just give you a snapshot of being a successful person in life. There are three things that we need. One is the skills on the top left. You have to have a reasonable amount of skill set. Whatever you're doing, you need to have a reasonable amount of skill sets. The other one is attitude. Your attitude should be positive. If you're not positive, if you're not passionate, if you're not friendly, if you're not showing warmth, and if you're not showing respect to people, respect to humanity, you might be the world's greatest human being in terms of knowledge or skills. People will not respond to you. People will try to avoid you. So you have to start defocusing your ego issues. Even if you have ego problem, many people may have ego problem because the orientation that they had come through in their lives, that had made them egocentric, and you cannot rub it off one fine day. But this is a journey. Your success is a journey. Your success depends on you. You have to start thinking, where are my fault lines? Where is the ego issue that is actually hurting me? So can I get rid of my ego problem? Yes, of course. So attitude, attitude, and attitude. And knowledge is getting everything together. It works. If you don't have the knowledge, you're like a like a big building, but the pillars are not strong. So if strong wind comes, your building can collapse. So you don't want your building to collapse because you have put enough energy and effort and time and money to create your building. You want your pillars to be strong. And what are these pillars? Specifically, the most important pillar is your success, your success pillar, that is dealing with your knowledge. You have to get your knowledge up to the level. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing a Rotaract project, you must have a comprehensive knowledge of who are your stakeholders, how you're going to work with the team, what are your beneficiaries, how are they getting benefited, what is your budget, what are your financial constraints, can you get project benefit or project support from the district, etc., etc. Is this opportunity for CSR, corporate social responsibility, things of that nature? So you need to be planning, you need to be organizing, you need to be leading the team, and you need to coordinate, and ultimately coming back with the controlling mechanism. So these things actually are crucial in the design of the success, your success as a professional and as a team. And if you are successful, every single person within your team are successful, then you can imagine what will be the outcome, the optimum outcome, the ultimate outcome of the team effort. It will be a wonderful and orchestrated musical flow, a musical orchestra. It will sound like music. It will sound like magic. So you want to create this wonderful magic. Otherwise, there will be cacophony. There will be discord, disharmony, disenfranchisement. You'll feel miserable, and when you have that negative senses prevailing, a lot of good things you will miss out. You will not see the sky. You will only see the dirt and sorrow and everything. You will not see the hope, and you will not see the sunshine. So I want you to feel this hope, ray of hope. I want you to feel the sunshine. I want you to be positive in life through building your skills, building your attitudes, and building your knowledge. So how do these things respond? How do you respond to these things? We have talked about it, so I don't want to go into much more detail, but being communicative to your audience, be more effective, is going to drive your success. You need to improve your collaboration, the teamwork. Conflict resolution is one area which is vital. Negotiation and conflict resolution. I have actually a 5-day course on negotiation and conflict resolution. So you can improve on those areas. Then you build functioning teams. You can build teams, as I mentioned, but if they're not trusting, if they're not collaborating, and if they're not actually working in synchronicity, then it's not a team. It is a bundle of people working with no particular vision. That is not a team. You want a team that works together for a particular objective, particular vision, and everybody is passionate and driving hard towards that goal. That's a building a functional team. And that's how all of this combined you become a true leader. You make change, you evolve, you construct ideas, people respond to you, people feel that now this is the person I want to connect with throughout my life, and this is the person with whom I want to associate and create my own leadership capacity. And then ultimately everything will flow into a one unique pattern of outcomes, success outcomes. And I talk about the success outcomes in terms of sales, in terms of your sales strengths within yourself. So you will become somebody successful people will immediately respond to you, and things will be so much easier for you to convince. So this with this, I think I will be coming to my end of my presentation. So I will allow a few minutes for people to respond, and if you want to jump in and share some ideas, and if you want to also ask me some questions, the floor is open for the next 5 to 7 minutes. So thank you very much. With this, I end my presentation. I appreciate all of you listening to my presentation. I am ZIAUR Rahman. I'm also an advocate, and welcome to my club meetings in future. I'm with Rotary Club of Dhaka Central, and I'm also into politics of Bangladesh. My political party name is Forward Party. So thank you very much, and the floor is back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. If any one of you have any questions, you can please comment it on chat box. Uh, Soil Rana have one of the questions, like he want to ask about what is the how to progress a person, like when we basically we work in team, and our teamwork is main thing for success. So how can we progress a person?
Okay, if I got the question right, what Advocate Soil Rana is wanting to for me to share is how a team effort works and ultimately drive results. That's very important. If you want your team to work, you should put together a action point. You should put together a time chart. You should put together a project flow chart. Who will be doing what, and who's responsible for what action, and who will be responsible to whom. So if you can put together a flow chart, an activity chart of all the activities, it should not be in your head. It should be actually in written down pen and paper, especially when you're dealing with big projects. You should have team meetings, you should have milestone meetings, you should get everybody to come and talk about their input and whether the input is going in the right direction or not. If it's going in the right direction, you should give them the value and show them the respect that yes, you're doing a great work, carry on, we are very excited to have you on our team. So you give them the energy, the passion, we talked about. So that's one thing. And if the team is not working properly, maybe you might want to pull in one or two people from the team, maybe rearrange the team by telling them that the reason you had to rearrange the team because the ultimate outcome cannot be overlooked. The ultimate outcome has to take place on certain day. So if your team is not working, then my part of the success will be affected, and the outcome will be affected. So please either jump in and push yourself extremely hard and overcome the deficiency, or you bring in other people to the team. So getting people to come together, sharing thoughts and being free and frank. Sometimes you might be feeling a little shy as to do certain tasks, but if you are smart, if you start sharing that, okay, there is some gap that I have, can somebody come and support? We are human beings, right? We want to support each other. Rotaracts and Rotarians are here in society to support humanity. So I know by nature, our natures are to support each other. So if somebody is a little behind, people will respond very quickly. So I think these three things or four things that I just discussed would actually shape up the outcome of a good team effort. So thank you very much. Thanks for asking me the question.
Hope he may have got the answer. So one of our friend is asking about pitching for products. You want to know some ideas about pitching about the products.
I didn't get your last. Your sound got lost.
Uh, One of our friend is asking some ideas on marketing, which we
Oh,
pitch some products. So you want to know some ideas about it.
okay. It's an interesting question. Thank you very much. Um, Marketing is a very important component in the sales process. Unless you market your product well, sales will not happen. So marketing is the what we say, marketing brings you to the doorstep of the final selling process. So if you are presenting your product in the most effective way, then your marketing is taking place effectively. So many channels of marketing are there. The most important channel is word of mouth marketing. So if you are selling a product or if you're selling a service, you need to get people connected to the idea passionately. So when you're talking about the product or when you're talking about the service, you want to market it in such a way that people start thinking that, oh my god, I think I need this product. So you create an awareness, you build a sense of purpose in that person, that I think I need that product. I think my life will be better if I have that product. So that type of energy, that type of mindset has to be designed and has to be conveyed. So that's an important part of marketing. The other part is you have to be promoting your product in different sales channels. Maybe you're a bakery product. Maybe you're selling bakery products. So there must be some bakery industry journals or business magazines, or maybe some social media space on internet or Facebook or in on other places where a lot of information are there on the trade channels on the bakery products. So you need to promote yourself there. That will get people's attention quicker. So that's the other part. The third one, you could actually get agencies, the public relations agencies, we call it the PR agencies, to give you the structure of what is your communication plan and how you want to respond to the market. This might be expensive, but it pays if you are going to the right channel, if you're going to the right communication marketing team. That way they work as your extended arm in your thought process. You're thinking certain things, you give it to them. They are very professional in designing the scope of your product. Maybe certain angles were missing, you can add to them, they can add to it, and then your product becomes even more exciting. The statements, uh, the comments become the advertisement, the taglines, the slogans can be really made very exciting. And that's how you can start marketing your product. And finally, if you're co-branding with other people, you have a product. Let's say you're selling Lux. Lux is a soap in Bangladesh. If you're selling Lux, and if you co-brand with, let's say, Colgate toothpaste, then these are household products. When you're doing it together, they're supporting each other and feeding each other, supporting each other. So co-branding can also help. Let's say you're a restaurant and you have a new, let's say you're a dinner set that you're selling as a crockery item. If you can co-brand with a restaurant, a very important and high-end restaurant, and if you can push your crockery set as a complimentary crockery set into the tables, and people might say, wow, this looks good, this crockery set looks good, and then you have an image in that department say that compliments of this, all the crockery item is from this company. We have a company called Monnu Ceramic in Bangladesh. So let's say the 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 compliments comes from Monnu Ceramic. So that's how you can advertise. So there could be other ways, of course, but you can have activation events. You can have trade participation events. So you could start designing things. You could have short marketing stints. You could have a radio talk show. You could go into TV channel. You could go into Facebook Live. You could do university trade participation, things of that nature. It could be so many things. You could have events. You could design events where you have debates and quiz competition, and your product gets promoted to those channels. Okay.
Uh, Thank you, sir. Here the next question, and it's about like in a capitalistic market where more and more companies are becoming monopolistic. So when is the right time to think about selling your company to this monopolistic Goliaths, and when should you hustle it out and fist against multi-billion-dollar companies?
So earning the most optimum income. It depends on the concept of product life cycle. We teach a course on product life cycle. You have the introduction, you have the growth, you have the maturity, and you have the decline. So if your product or service that you're selling to the market is in the tail end of the decline stage, and you know that no matter how hard you try, you cannot extend the product, you cannot come up with new product ideas connected to this product. Sometimes at that point it's an opportune moment to sell your product. But you might ask that why would somebody else buy your company at that point? They could buy it for many reasons. One could be they have a certain idea about your product that you haven't actually gotten an idea about. You have no angle of that, but they have a big opportunity. Or they might be repositioning your product in a completely different geographic market. So your product can have a extended market coverage. So you can they can extend your product into a different market. So that could be an opportune moment for you to sell your product at multi-million dollars. That could be another point. The other point is that maybe the growth of your product has sort of narrowed down and you feel you have lost passion in the product, or you have something really exciting that is driving you, or maybe something has popped up that is exciting and that is really taking up your mind a lot of your time. So you feel that your passion has changed from this product to, let's say, another product. That's the time that you need to jump out of your current product, even if you're not perhaps selling at a high value. Why? Because you should not be connected to any product or service where your mind is not focused. If your mind is properly focused, if your mind believes that this is the product or this is the service that I want to be passionately connected to and deliver the outcome from this product, that's the point that you should jump ship. You should move out from your product. Okay, so I believe these could be some areas through which, and the other point is when your country's economy is doing well, that could be a point to you know take yourself out of the product, because if your economy is going well, people will be more interested to invest, and there would be an opportunity for you to sell your products and services, and as well as your company. But if your economy is going down, your company valuation will come down. So those could be on areas where you could actually start thinking of selling your product or your company out into the market. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is like, what shall be the factor that can be considered while choosing the target market?
Okay, target market. Target market depends on your product, of course. If you are, let's say, university, your target markets are in college students who are graduating, or professionals who are looking for a second degree, or senior professionals who want to get some short professional degrees. That's your target market. You also want to target families of the young students whose families are worried about their children's or their their family members education period. So that is your target market. So designing the target market depends on your product, number one. Designing your target market depends on the valuation and pricing of your product. If your product is, let's say, Mercedes Benz or Lamborghini, obviously you're not going to be putting out a poster in a poor neighborhood. Let's say in Bangladesh we have a neighborhood called let's say, I don't know, Gulistan, a slightly poorer community. You're not going to have the advertisement of Rolex in that domain. I'm sure a nice place in Kathmandu would have the advertisement of Rolex. Why? Because those are the places where people would be, most affluent people are going to their country club, or going to their beach houses, or maybe traveling in their cars, and going to high-end restaurants or meetings. So those are the places that you would be targeting. So basing your product, these are the components that you should be targeting. And the other final issue that you'd be targeting is based on the real need of the market. You might have a good product, but the need of that product is not there. For example, Bangladesh is predominantly a Muslim country, religiously bent. So if you are trying to sell bikini in Bangladesh, it will not work, because there will be no one wanting to buy this product, because by ethical standards of our religion, from a Muslim point of view, you're not supposed to be wearing those items, right? So those products will not sell. But if you go to, let's say, San Diego, and if you go to San Diego, which is a nice place, I've been there. So if you go and try to sell, people will buy that product in droves. So you have to also understand the environment, and the demography in which you have to sell your product. And the last point I would say that you, before you target your product, you have to create an awareness, or you have to have a reasonable awareness of the market. For example, if you look at Apple, when Apple starts selling any of its product, uh, about 3 to 4 months back, they build up the awareness, they build up the hype, they build up the exciting features that the Apple product is coming with their market into the market. So they build up such a hype, they build up such a excitement into the market that by the time that product is unfolded and hits the stores, people make lines, and by 2 hours the first batch of Apple products are sold. And that is the type of market coverage, the image they want to create in the market, that you need to go to the Apple store even before the store opens at 10 o'clock in the market. You need to line up at 7 a.m. Otherwise, you're not going to get the first round of Apple products. So that's how you have to design your target. All right. Next point or next issue.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is like the advertising is also the main equipment or techniques that we use to sell our products. So, what uh, various techniques of advertisement can be that we can use to sell our products?
I think I've already answered that by saying that advertising in newspaper, trade journals, billboards, uh, YouTube channels, Facebook marketing, social media marketing, word of mouth marketing, uh, activation events, other content positioning strategies, co-branding strategies, etc., can be used to advertise your product. And also remember, you have to find the right audience and the right demographic context in which you advertise. No use advertising to the wrong people; they will not buy your product, no matter how much advertising budget you push.
Thank you so much, sir. So, uh, a lot of them want to know about yourself. Like they want to know what is your greatest struggle or limitation in supervising others. Can you give us an example of a time when you on overcame one of your limitation and resolved a problem?
Okay, fantastic. I really appreciate this question. I have many limitations. Human beings have many limitations. My limitation, first limitation is I tend to do things at a late hour. I'm a procrastinator. I plan, but I somehow miss the boat and I start doing things at a late hour. So I started my presentation today by using that word beware. I didn't just want it to beware you, I actually beware myself. So that's one important limitation. The greatest challenge that I had was perhaps graduating from University of Maryland, College Park. I actually went to college in the United States of America and I did my graduate school there. The greatest challenge for me was to graduate from University of Maryland. Why? We had a very tedious program, and for some reason, I was a very, what should I say? I used to do too many things. I got into business when I was 16 years old. I got into many types of business. So I'm always doing things. I have 20 ideas in front of me all the time. I sometimes miss out on the priority listing. So that is another big challenge that I have. I sometimes fail to prioritize. I jump into many things without realizing what should be my priority. So education became a less priority, and I went into focusing on developing my business in the United States. Although at that point I was not even a citizen, I was just a foreign student. So I started building networks. I was traveling. I was going to different states, connecting the dots, almost getting ready to launch my business. And I actually launched a couple of small businesses. None of them worked because I was not ultimately completely passionate about each and every one of the business. I had my passion sort of uh, winged into different baskets. So if your passions are winged into different baskets, that was my overwhelming challenge. So having so many things happening around me at the same time, I could not handle my energy, and I was getting lost. I was losing myself. I was spending a lot of time into designing my future in terms of business, but I was actually spending less time in education, and that sort of was hurting my grades for one semester. And I decided to actually take off one semester to develop my business. That was a very bad decision that I took, because when I came back the next semester, I was a little behind my schedule in terms of my academics. I took more courses. I was always a good student, but since I took my time out for my academics, next time when I came back and tried to take more credits, I think I took 18 credits. And that was not a smart thing to do, because I was a little bit away from education for one semester. Yes, I was connected. I had only six credits in that semester. So I was not a full-time student per se, and that's not good in the United States. You can lose your student status, but accidentally or stupidly I did that. But when I came back, I took 18 or 19 credits. I think it was 19 credits as far as I remember. So that was a bummer. It was very difficult for me to navigate those 19 credits, especially coming from the University of Maryland background. University of Maryland is one of the top programs in the United States in Washington, D.C. So that was a biggest hurdle in my life that I had to overcome. Okay.
Uh, Thank you very much, sir. We can see, sir, there is still a debate between socialism and capitalism theory. We want to know, in your point of view, which one would be better for company to formulate.
Actually, when you talk about socialism, socialism is a state uh, construct. It's the political identity of a state, and capitalism is also a state's construct. For example, United States of America is based on capitalistic principles, whereas let's say Soviet Union or Sweden is based on socialist principle. Bangladesh is based on socialist principle. So you cannot put apples and oranges together when you're talking about state versus corporation. If you're talking about corporations, there are two notions. One is a social business construct, and one is a capital market-based, capitalistic, market-driven business. So if you're considering social business construct, it is reflecting the norms of socialism. So Grameen Bank is a big bank in Bangladesh, and Professor Yunus, the champion Nobel Prize winner from Bangladesh, he constructed this idea of a social business. So I think professionally, you could do two things. If you are doing a capitalist business, capitalism means the owners community make all the profit. The employee base gets the salary, the owners extract the profit. Of course, the owners extract the profit and perhaps give back to society in a meaningful way. So if you can create a corporation with a responsible capitalism mindset, then it's okay. So you're earning a lot of money and you're giving back to society. Bill Gates has created a lot of wealth for himself, but he's also giving back to society by creating Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So that is an important construct that you can move towards. The other one is actually creating a social business enterprise where you are not making money for yourself. You are part of the business. Yes, you're one of the important stakeholders, perhaps the architect, perhaps one or two of the key players in your business, but you cannot take the profit. You have to funnel back the profit into your business for further growth. You can take a salary, you can take certain benefits out of it, but those are up to a certain point, and these are part decided by your the board of trustees or board of directors. In this case, you would be calling board of trustees discussion and meetings. So that's the other alternative. So you have to decide in life which component you want to move into. If you go into responsible capitalism, you will make more money for sure. Why? you are making more profit and you're giving a share of that into the market, into the people, into the orphanages, into the schools in your district, in your communities. And on the other one, you're making maybe you're making quite a bit of money, but you're taking only a small part as salary and benefits for you. The rest you have to plug back into society. So more money is being plowed back into society in the social business or the socialistic perspective of business into this business segment. And on the capitalist engagement area, less money is being put into society. You are becoming more richer. For instance, Bill Gates has become the richest man in the world. And of course, he has shared his wealth with the society, but there are many people who become very rich and don't share their wealth in society. So that is absolutely not a good construct. So being a responsible capitalism with CSR activity is probably a good approach and the best approach as a human being, because you have a life here and hereafter. So you're responsible for being a good citizen, a good soul in this world, and also responsible for the hereafter. Those of you who believe in the hereafter has to also believe that something is awaiting you in the next life. So if you're being responsible in this life, then God, Allah, whatever you want to call, is going to give you that benefit, Bhagavan, in the next life. So that's an important belief. So you design your future based on the belief system that you have. Okay,
Thank you so much, sir.
you're welcome.
And next, what we'd like to know is most sales team are actually focused on the numbers rather than people. And teams are hardwired to do anything to get results. So we would like to know, how do you balance the importance of results and trust of a team, and which one component do you think needs to be prioritized over the other?
Okay, fantastic question. One more time. Very good question. I would think that for any business to be successful, you can't be looking at the short run. If you're looking at the short run, then you will be prioritizing the profitability and you will be pushing your team to excel and do the best every time. But that has its negatives. Why? If you're pushing your team too much, you're going to have team attrition. People will be getting tired. Nobody can work, like a machine. You need some rest time. You need some time to relax with your family, vacation, etc. So I think a mix of life balance with work is what will drive your organization to future success, because you don't want successful business for 1 or 2 years and then everything will go haywire from year three because everybody is leaving your organization. Your best sales team has already left. So you are right now in a vacuum and you're trying to build your sales team up. Why did this happen? Because you drove them out. You pushed them to the limit. You made them work so hard that after 1 or 2 sessions, 1 or 2 months, or 1 or 2 quarters, they are getting very tired. So you don't want to do that. So I think as a professional, best approach is to create a balance between your professional team as to they work hard. Of course, you want your team to work hard, but you don't want to bend their backwards to work hard. You want them to give the comfort while having some form of enjoyment and relaxation and time to spend time with their families as well. If you make them work 6 hours a day, 6 days of work, then you will probably not be very successful. Many organizations in this world now have done analysis and they have found out that a 35-hour or 40-hour week, but very effective 5-day work week is better for that organization rather than a 6-day work week. And one of the biggest organizations in the world are actually many of these organizations do not go into a 6-day work week. They go into a 5-day work week. If you go to Germany, if you go to Europe, if you go to North America, they have a 5-day work week. I used to work for a 5-day work week US corporation, right? And they were very, very good with in terms of vacationing. They were very good in terms of giving you a life balance. But when we work from 8:30 to 5 p.m., we work fairly hard. So you have to realize that you can't push your team to the limit. If you push your team to the limit, the team will backfire. You will have job attrition. Your job turnover rates will go up, and ultimately that will add to cost. You don't want that to happen. So a balance is the most vital tool that you must be exercising at your workplace on a regular basis. All right.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. What we want to know next is we are already getting delay, so we will not be taking furthermore any question. So here only two questions left. So what I would we would like to ask you is, as you are the CEO of IITM, in which part did you face with the conflict in regards to decision making and help to lead the charge towards a positive outcome while doing startup in this field?
Okay, again, an exciting question. I actually had a lot of failures in my organization, uh, not just because of me. Yes, partly because of me. I had sometimes, although I'm preaching life balance, sometimes I came a bit late to work. Let's say I came at 11 and I stuck around till 8, and some of my team members wanted to go home, but sometimes I had important tasks for them to complete, and I told them, please stay back and finish this work before you leave home. So they didn't show their frustration right away, but I didn't realize that they were getting a little frustrated because I I did that a few weeks at a stretch at times, because in my area, in the academic training component, you have a set of trainings that come up back to back, and you have the corporates that you have to cater to. So maybe 6 or 7 days becomes very tedious for the employees. So if you have a set of 6 or 7 days on a regular basis for 1 or 2 months, then people are getting very stressful. So I kept on going because I was coming a bit late. They were coming at 9:30, and they were staying till 8 or 10 p.m. at times, because they needed to get things done. So this was an obstacle for their growth, and I did not pay attention for a few months. So I actually lost some good candidates. They went to some, not candidates, good employees. They went and did something different, and they even joined my competitors. So I think that was a challenge I could not foresee as a CEO. But certain things I also foresaw as a CEO, that things that probably will evolve in the coming days, and I took note of it, and I jumped my team into designing the new process, and that sort of saved me from a lot of financial failures. I've lost a lot of money doing certain things. As I mentioned to you, I had a problem in prioritizing. This was a major problem in my own organization. I could not prioritize things. Everything seemed to be very exciting to me at times, especially when I was younger, 10, 12 years back. I thought things are moving in the in order for me to move in the right direction, I need to be in different segments. But actually, that was a failure, and I lost, you know, crores of taka, unfortunately, and family money as well. And I had to, almost shut my organization down, and slowly growing it back. But then a lot of things took place in Bangladesh. We had a 9/11 type of situation. We had a 1/11 situation in this country, and so I was in the middle of that environment. My operation was right in the middle of the situation where all this chaos was taking place. So I had to really shut my operation down for a few months. And as you can imagine, we are going through the same crisis right now due to COVID, and we are not being able to service our clients. We're not being able to support our team members, etc. So it's a very difficult scenario. So we have to overcome. The world has to overcome. So I think people by nature have the incredible capacity to come back. We are resilient human beings. We are resilient nations. So I think something positive will come about. And imagine the opportunities that has unfolded. Imagine if COVID not had not taken place, I would not be connecting with you. Raj, Resh Raj would not have connected with me. So other opportunities have come about due to this COVID-19 situation. So I think we can end the question answering session, right?
Mm, okay, sir. Hello.
Yes,
Okay, so we can end. Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful session.
you're most
I think
welcome.
a lot of them uh, have got a lot of fruitful messages and information from your side. So, without any further delay, I would like to provide the floor to our chief guest of the event, Rotarian Subhash Sigdal sir, for uh, for some remarks.
Thank you, Race. I'm not going to delay for more delay. Thank you, Jar Rahman, for your wonderful presentations. First of all, I would like to congratulations to the president of the Sukedhara, Rotary Club of Sukedhara, Chandra Bhaktadikari. And I know this program is jointly hosted by the Rotary Clubs of Nepal and Bangladesh also. Basically, Mr. Zair Rahman speak on the basis of the sales trained to the futures as a motivator speaker. During this session, I stay a full time. When I listen to his speech, he's a good orator and he's also a good speaker also. So he's also the politician. So I hope in near future we see him as a minister of Bangladesh also, economic or maybe industry minister. Yeah,
Thank you.
actually, the sales train to the future is just I study in this morning. There's just some six components are there. Just like you know that must be the transparency in your products. You must, if you go to the sales, you must have the transparency in your products, as well as the sustainability in the market. Your products should be the sustainability. The second one, the third one is the value addition in your product. There should be the value added. If you right now we are talking about the some colgates and lux products, they have they must have, they are going to the value added then product. So in every in the old, the lux is everybody known about lux and colgate also. So you must have to edit the value in your product also. The other one is the consumer sentiment. The as a sales, you must have to know your consumer sentiment. I think also that there's a, in now the in 21st century and this 2020 and 2021, there's also the digital sales marketing. Yeah, there's a way of the digital sales. There's one of the one approach also is there. The last one is a sales subscription. You use subscription sales is also the most important in your sales train. So for the road track, the age of the road track is 18 and 30 currently, and maybe above that. Yes, this is the right uh, time. To you must have to jump to your comfort zone, from the comfort zone to your uh, future career. So for all these sessions, Mr. Jaur Rahman uh, concentrate about that. What the road track is going for your future and what do you want to do that. You must have to final your career, and first of all you must have to think uh, in your mind. So at the end of my speech, first of all I conclude by this one. This is one is nobody want to push yourself in your career. So you must have to go and achieve what you want to do there. So by profession, the Rotaract have the different profession. They are right now currently they are studying the students. Some of them are the businessmen, and some of them are also the service holder. So you must have to think what should you have to go over there. So first of all, you have to decide your goal, and you have to jump over there.